Uh,
Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. I got my buddy on show with us from Frock. Good afternoon, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? I just wanted to say it's like a huge honor to come on your podcast.
Thanks.
I know that you guys are always like helping a lot of young like student entrepreneurs, like really helping them like put themselves out there and giving them an opportunity on a platform like yours. So I just wanted to say like it's an honor to be here.
I appreciate that. It's very kind and stuff. Jump in. Tell me about the business. Why'd you start it?
Of course, of course. Why did I start Frock? So, what I do is I built an app called Frock. It's an app where you can rent clothes. I like to call it a mix of Pinterest and Airbnb. You can get the inspiration aspects of Pinterest, where you can look and search for outfits, get inspired. But unlike Pinterest, you can actually go in and actually buy those clothes or rent those clothes off the person directly. So it's a peer-to-peer rental platform where you can actually go out and do those things. And so why I started it, I'm like into fashion myself. I like to go on Pinterest and search for clothes, get inspired, and learn more about fashion, like build my own sense of fashion myself, right? And so one of the biggest problems I would run into is I would find a piece of clothing, I would find an outfit that someone was wearing, and I would really like it, but I couldn't actually get it off of them, right? I would get linked to like these third-party Chinese websites and I would probably get scammed on trying to find something similar, but not never the actual outfit itself. I would get inspired, but I couldn't execute and do it myself. So I thought, okay, why not have an app where you can get inspired, but you can actually buy or rent it off the person directly, right? And so I also incorporated like the rental aspect of it because just for sometimes you just want to try an outfit out. Sometimes you don't want to buy it, you just want to rent it out. Sometimes you have like an occasion, maybe like a job interview, like a picnic, or even for Halloween weekend coming up, like maybe you just want to rent out a costume. You don't want to keep it long term, right? It's also very sustainable in terms of instead of using fast fashion, you can rent clothes. If you have clothes laying around, you can put those on rent and you can turn your clothing into an asset. So we're promoting sustainability. A lot of trends these days rely on fast fashion where you buy a lot of very cheap clothing, very low quality clothing that only lasts so long. Instead, why not just rent clothes off of other people who aren't really using those clothes anymore, especially if you like it? And so I started this at the start of this year and I worked up, spent all of summer just like grinding on this app,
Hmm.
and it is finally on the App Store. And that's a little bit about Frock. That's a little bit about where it's at right now.
So if I want to rent something, how long can I rent it for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There are a lot of logistical aspects to it. And so we really made it in a way where the person who is renting those clothes out to other people has a lot of different options in terms of how much they want to rent it out for, or like how much insurance they want to put on it. Or they can even choose to not let people rent it. They can also let people just buy those clothes out themselves, right? So they have a lot of options there. And depending on what they choose, maybe they say people can only rent this piece of clothing out for 10 days max. So now the user can come in and see that, okay, I can only rent this piece of clothing for 10 days. So why not? Maybe I want to rent this out for a week. I'll rent it out for 7 days. So it's just very flexible. It really depends on how long the person who's renting those clothes out chooses to rent those clothes out.
Yep. Now, as the person being the renter, I get to choose how much I want to charge you to rent it for 7 days.
Yeah, so the way it works is that the person who's renting those clothes out has the option to choose, how long and how much money they want to rent those clothes out for. So it's based on per days where like you can say, okay, per day, you have to pay me $10 to rent these clothes out. So if you're renting it out for 5 days, $50. If you're renting out for 2 days, $20. So that's kind of how it works right now.
Now, how do you control people returning the clothes? I guess to me that'd be a question. I let you rent me my fancy suit and I didn't get it back. So how do you control that to make sure someone actually does return it?
Yeah, so one of the biggest risks as a renter is someone not returning your clothes or returning those clothes in like a worse quality than before you initially rented it out for.
Yep.
Sometimes they may even keep it for a longer time and like that could screw you over because maybe you need that piece of clothing back, right? So the way it works is that we have an insurance policy where the person who's renting those clothes out has to pay an upfront minimum to rent those clothes out, and they will get that money back once they return that item back in good fashion and on time. And if they aren't able to do that, the person who's renting those clothes out will get Depending on what the renter does, they will get a sum of the money. It could be all of the insurance money. It could be half of it. It really just depends on the situation and the context.
Yep,
But there are like logistical things in place to prevent someone just not returning clothes at all.
got it. So what's the future hold for the company? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, so currently I finished the MVP. It is on live on the App Store. And that was probably the biggest hurdle up to this point
Mm,
was getting it actually onto the App Store. And so it's been about like a month and a half since then, and I've worked on marketing it, getting more inventory, and just keep pushing it out. I've even ran through a couple iterations. I've gotten feedback from like I would say about like 100 to 150 users. So there's definitely a bright future for Frock. So the area I want to take it in right now is getting more inventory. That's probably our biggest issue right now is that we need more inventory on the app. It's like a chicken and egg problem, right? You can't have the chicken without the egg. You can't have people renting clothes out without inventory on the app. So
makes
definitely we're trying to get more inventory right now, but we also do have enough inventory where people can actually go in and buy or rent clothes. So literally just scaling it, just putting it out there. I currently go to college. I go to the University of Maryland, so I'm working with like vintage stores to try and get their inventory onto my app. I've been putting flyers around campus, trying to spread the word, spread the brand. I've been going to like startup conferences and that kind of thing as well. Just trying to learn more as an entrepreneur myself. I'm trying to grow individually as well throughout this whole process, right? I feel that a lot of entrepreneurs will attach themselves to their brand or what they're working on. I want to grow like individually as a person, like outside of my product, outside of Frog. I want to grow myself as an entrepreneur. I want to become a better speaker. I want to become a better problem solver. I want to persevere through more problems and challenges. And I feel like in turn, that will also reflect on Frog, right? If I'm able to become a better like CEO and founder, if I'm able to become a better person, then Frog will reflect that as well. So
sense.
it's just gonna take a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of perseverance. But I'm excited to see where it goes.
So how can people download the app? Is it in both the Microsoft and Google Store?
Yeah, so currently it is only iOS, and I've
Yep.
limited it to only like United States. So
Yep.
that way, like we don't have like those
Mm,
international like packages, that kind of thing, just
sure.
because we aren't there yet.
Yep.
But literally, just search up Frog, Forc. It'll be the first thing that shows up on the App Store.
Awesome. So if people have other questions, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, just email us at frockapp.com, frockapp@gmail.com. You can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. You can reach out to the Frock LinkedIn or my name, like Anshul. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just hit me up anytime. I'm always happy to answer any questions or concerns. But yeah,
Beautiful. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
of course, I appreciate you so much, Kevin.
You're welcome.